Hello everyone and welcome to the Belarusians who fought under British command in World War I, presented by Ihar Melnikau. My name is Sophie and I am the lead moderator for the session. I am here to ensure that the session runs as smoothly and as safely as possible. Please let me know if you have any concerns or questions by messaging me by using the chat function at the bottom. In order to make this a welcoming environment and also show off the fact that we have participants from around the world, please ensure that you have changed your name to state your full name and your city. You can rename yourself by hovering your mouse over your name in the Participants tab and clicking the Rename button. We would really like you to turn your video on during the session. Being able to see each other helps to create more of a community atmosphere, and for security reasons, we may remove people who have their video turned off. If you have a question at any point in the session, you should message me with it, as I said earlier, using the chat function. If you would like to ask a question to the presenter, there will be a sort of small Q&A at the end of the session. I will explain how that will work when we get there. Also, I recommend that you do the session in presenter view, which you can change. You can change from gallery view to speaker view by clicking the speaker view button in the top right corner of your Zoom window. I hope you enjoy the session, and once again, I am pleased to introduce Ihar Melnikau. Over to you.
Thank you very much for the invitation. My name is Ihar Melnikau. I'm a PhD historian from Belarus. I'm Belarusian, and for me this topic is really very important. Thanks once again for possibility to give this page of our Belarusian, and not only Belarusian history, to the different parts of the world by this conference. Unfortunately, in our republic, we have only one point of view, now the Soviet point of view on the moments or different pages of the history of the Second World War. This year we have 75th anniversary of the great victory in the Second World War, but unfortunately in our republic, our authorities mention only Soviet soldiers, but not soldiers of the different armies of the different countries of the anti-Hitler's coalition. And today I will provide you with information about the Belarusians, and not only Belarusians, who fought against Nazis in the ranks of the Polish army, not only Second Polish Corps and First Polish Independent Airborne Brigade, but also about the events of 1939, because it's very important, and I stress it in all my books, that the Second World War came to Belarus on the 1st of September 1939, when the German Third Reich attacks Second Polish Republic, and even 70,000 of Belarusians joined the Polish army, Wojska Polskie, and started to fight against the common enemy of the whole democratic world. On March 1939, it was a big mobilization. It was a hidden mobilization on the church of northeastern voivodeships of the Second Polish Republics, and thousands of people who were born on the Church of Belarus, who were Belarusians, joined the Polish army, and they fought against Nazis near Warsaw, near Mlawa. This is a small cities. Warsaw, of course, is the capital during the big battle near Warsaw. Also Poznań, also Lwów, Brześć, Brest, Biereste, and different other battles. On the territory of Belarus was a big Polish unit called 20th Infantry Division. I wrote a book about this division. It's in Polish, but especially for commemoration of these soldiers, I wrote this book. There were 3 regiments: 78th Regiment, 79th Regiment, and 80th Regiment of the Polish infantry. during the interval period, Polish command wants to use this 20th division in Baranovichi defense region. But on March 1939, they were sent to Mulava, and they fought very bravely against Nazis. Or just to protect Warsaw, just to protect Polish capital. A lot of Belarusians were in the ranks of this division, and unfortunately, Poland was divided between Third Reich and Soviet Union. On the 17th of September 1939, Soviets started their campaign against Poland and divided Poland into two parts. And Western Belarus, Western Ukraine, or north eastern regions of and northern eastern regions of the Second Polish Republic was occupied by the Soviet Union. A lot of people were arrested on this territory. A lot of people were sent to the camps. A lot of people were deported. There were 4 waves of deportation from the territory of western regions of the Soviet Belarusian Republic. And another period of this tragedy started in June 1941, when Germany attacked Soviet Union. And Soviet command had a really very big problem, because Soviets have to unite all the powers against Nazis, and they they signed a treaty with the Polish government in exile. And in August 1941, on the territory of the Soviet Union, Soviet authorities started to form a new army. The chief of this army was General Vladislav Anders. And he said, during the meeting with Stalin, he said that I need all soldiers to this army. I need not only Poles, but also Belarusians, Ukrainians, and Jews, all citizens of the former Second Polish Republic. And Stalin said, well, why do you need these Belarusians and Ukrainians? Poles are the best soldiers. And Anders said, well, I know Belarusians, they were best Poles during the September campaign 1939, and I need them all very much, because Vladislav Anders participated in the Battle of Mulava in 1939, and he really knew the bravery of these Belarusian, Ukrainian, Jewish soldiers. What army was this Polish army on the territory of the Soviet Union? It was really a very poor army, because a lot of people were released from the Soviet concentration camps. In 2017, I issued a book, Odyssey of Polishuk. This is memoirs of the Belarusian soldier of the Second Polish Corps. He was arrested by the Soviet NKVD special police in 1941 because his father had a revolver and a gun, and NKVD found this revolver and arrested this man and sent to the prison. And in one of the auctions, I bought the memoirs of this man and issued these memoirs, gave the title Odyssey of Polishuk. And this man wrote a very interesting story. He said that during his difficult odyssey in the Soviet camps, he just was on the border of his life. It was really very, very difficult situation, but he came to, he received freedom, and he came to these Polish military units. Anders decided to take this army to Persia, to Iran, and not to fight on the Eastern Front against Nazis. Why? Very good question, because in 1941, 1942, these soldiers were in very poor situation. They were very weak, a lot of illnesses, a lot of lack of food, and so on and so forth. and Anders understood that it's very important to give to these people possibility to eat something, to live in a normal situation, and after that to fight against Nazis. And also very important and very important thing that there were not only soldiers in this army, there were a lot of civilians. There were people who were deported. For example, some of the families of the people who protected wood in the interwar period, they were arrested by Soviets, and they were not soldiers of the Polish army, but Soviets arrested them because they were representatives of the former Polish administration. And of course, these people have to receive special military training and so on and so forth. So it was a long way from Persia, from Iran, through Africa and to Italy. And in Italy, these guys fought against Nazis very, very bravely. My book, Forgotten Heroes, I issued it 2 years ago, tells the history of these guys. I'm not only a historian, I'm also a guy who collects uniform, and I have a big collection of uniform, and well, I just make here some pictures, materials of from my collection, because this is uniform, or original uniform, in which people fought in Italy. There were two divisions, 5th Cressy Division, 3rd Carpathian Division, and these divisions bravely fought against Nazis in Italy. And really, really very important thing, because there were 5 big attacks on Monte Cassino, and only the last attack of the 2nd Polish Corps was victorious, and a lot of guys died during this battle. I have here pictures of these guys who participated in that battle. For example, here we have 2 guys, these from the 2nd Polish Corps, this Cross of Monte Cassino. Yeah, we have here an original cross of Monte Cassino, and with a document. Perhaps some families of Belarusian, not only Belarusian, Anders soldiers have this cross, and they really bravely fought against Nazis near Monte Cassino, near Rome, and destroyed these German defense lines. And well, it was a really very big victory for this army. Unfortunately, after the Second World War starts the second act of the tragedy of these guys. A lot of these soldiers were, as I told, of Belarusian or Ukrainian origin, and after the Second World War, they decided to come back to Belarus, to Soviet Belarus. So also Soviet authorities in London, in Italy, different other countries provide agitation, so called, yes, provide information that please come back to your families in the Soviet Belarus, because they're waiting for you, and you are Belarusians. You have to come back. You have to work on your territory, on your land. And about 1,000 of Belarusians decided to go back to Belarus, to Soviet Belarus. And in 1951, Soviets arrested these people with the whole family, arrested with the whole things, documents, materials, and so on and so forth, and sent to Siberia. A lot of young Belarusians asked me why Soviets made that. The answer was, the answer is very ordinary, because in this period that's so-called Cold War between Western world, United States, Eastern Europe, Western Europe, and Soviet Unions and Soviet bloc. So these Western soldiers were dangerous for the Soviets, and they decided to send them more far from the western borders of the Soviet Union. 1951, it was spring 1951, and it was the second act of this tragedy, but not the last act, last but not least. Unfortunately, after, well, thanks God, after Stalin's death in 1953, these people receive freedom. They can come back to their land. But the last tragedy was that these people were not mentioned by Soviet authorities as participants of the Great Patriotic War, because there were no Second World War in Soviet identity. It was only Great Patriotic War, and you know, Great Patriotic War is only one campaign of the Second World War. So these people, some of these people moved to Poland. And other people live until the beginning of the 21st century in the territory of Belarus, and a really big tragedy, because a lot of these people died in the 1990s at the beginning of the 21st century, and they received Soviet pay books, soldiers' pay books. Here I can show you a British pay book of the Belarusian soldier of the Second Polish Corps, and they received Soviet pay books where it was written that these guys didn't participate in the Great Patriotic War, but really didn't participate in this war. He participated in the Second World War, and thanks to the British embassy in Minsk in Belarus, last years British authorities gave British awards, British stars, British medals to the grandparents of these soldiers. History of the soldiers of the Second Polish Corps is only a part of my report. Another part contains information about First Independent Polish Parachute Brigade. It's a very interesting topic. For me, it was a really very new topic, because first of all, I've watched the film The Bridge is Too Far, and it was not so popular in the Soviet Union, in independent Belarus, and for me it was really very interesting that some of these British soldiers spoke Polish. Why? Because they were Polish citizens, they had Polish citizenship, but some of them were Belarusians. In 2015, I found a very interesting story of Vasil Dureika. He was Belarusian, and he was a soldier of this parachute brigade, and he participated in market garden operation in Netherlands in August 1944. Here we have a picture of Vasil Dureika and different other soldiers from this parachute brigade, and another picture. It's not so good, but a very important thing, because he wrote in his memoirs that there were a lot of Belarusians in that unit, and they fought really bravely. The Operation Market Garden was not so successful for the Alliance, but they fought back to back with the British paratroopers, and sometimes when people from Netherlands saw such badges on the back of battle dress of these soldiers, they asked how, from Poland to Netherlands, and they said, well, our trip was not so easy, but we've moved from the air to the S, and we fight for your freedom. And Vasil Greyka decided not to come back to Belarus after the Second World War, and he moved to Canada. After that, he moved to Great Britain. After that, to Canada, and finally to the United States, and he died there. But in 2015, to Belarus came his son from Great Britain, and when he visited his village where his father was born, his great aunt said, "Well, Vasil, come back." So she decided that this is not his son, but this is the soldier, because he was very, very similar to his father. And it's really a very important thing because it's another page of the Second World War. And even now in Netherlands, we have a big cemetery of the Polish paratroopers, where we can find a lot of guys who were born on the territory of Belarus. On Monte Cassino, we have a big memorial where buried Polish soldiers of the Second Polish Corps, and there we can study the whole geography of Belarus. We can find the whole cities: Minsk, Volozhin, Molodechno, Slonim, Stoltse, and other different cities and towns and villages. And very interesting thing that there we can find Orthodox crosses, Catholic crosses, even David stars, Magen David, because some of them were of Jewish origin. And it's really very, very important. I would like to say also, I would like to show you my book, Second World War, and the pictures from my collection. And here there was a part which have connection with the Belarusian soldiers of this Anders army. I just put these pictures in my books, in my book, without any information, just information about the Second Polish Corps. And during one of the meetings, when I was presenting this book, came one guy and said, "Well, you know this guy in your book here? This is my grandfather." And he told me the whole history, because I just bought this picture in the auctions, and he told me the whole history of this guy, and I put on the cover of my book this guy, and also my grandfather here in the Soviet uniform. So because it's a symbol of a big fort against Nazis. Another picture we have here, guys with a Polish uniform in 1939 from the 20th Infantry Division, which fought against Nazis in Malava. So I think it's enough for you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate, please ask me questions, I can answer.
If you have a question, you can message me to say you have a question and I can unmute you.
I hope that we have enough time. Some guys of the Jewish origin were also soldiers of Second Polish Corps, but a lot of these guys during their stay of this unit in Palestine just moved from this army unit, and General Anders understood these people. After that, in 1948, they were one of the beginners of the new state, which called Israel.
Okay, does anyone have any questions?
Here we have a picture from Palestine, soldiers of the Second Polish Corps. And here's a postcard from London, from the collection of one of the Belarusian guys, Belarusian soldier. And this is a soldiers in the uniform of the 1936, before Second World War. These guys also were soldiers of the Second Polish Corps during the Second World War. And here we have very interesting picture, a guy who came to Belarus, and this is a picture with his sister, and he's staying in the British uniform, of course without insignia, but he just made this picture on the territory of the Soviet Belarus. Also picture from Palestine and Africa, very interesting pictures. I should say that Belarusians participate also in the Battle of France, also Battle of Britain, of course. A very important thing that some of the guys were soldiers or pilots of the RAF, Royal Air Force, and they participated in Battle of Britain 1940. And after that, they participated in different actions on the territory of Germany. They bombarded. They were soldiers of bomber squadron and so on and so forth. Some of them came back to Belarus. I wrote in my book about Kazimir Yanovich, very interesting person from Medel region, village Zaurutki, and he fought in the 305th bomb squadron, attacks Germany during the Second World War, and after that he decided to come back to Belarus, and he died on the territory of Belarus. Also, I mentioned a lot of different other pilots from the territory of Belarus in my book, and also very interesting because unknown page in the history of Belarus and Second World War.
Okay, great. I can't see any questions. If you have any message now.
Yes, this is very interesting also guy, Zawadzki. I will explain his history. Also a very interesting guy because I bought his documents on the auction. He was soldier of the tank regiment, participated in the liberation of France, and after the Second World War moved to United States, and after the Second World War decided to stay in the United States, and he helped his family for staying in the Soviet Union by sending the money. Some months ago, I received a very interesting message. I'm continuing my work on the history of the Belarusians in the Polish military units and on the ranks of the Second Polish Corps, and I received a message from Argentina. In the interval period, a lot of guys from Belarus moved to Argentina for looking, they just were looking a new job and something like that. And Belarusian guy from Grodno region. Grodno is one of the 6 districts of Belarus, and he moved from Grodno to Argentina after the Second World War, and his granddaughters wrote me that she was looking the history of his family, and she sent me some documents in Russian, and she said, well, I was looking the truth of the history of my grandfather in the Polish archives, but I haven't found. And for me, any help is very important. And I wrote these documents and I said, well, thank you very much for your materials, but I congratulate you are Belarusian. because nationality is Belarusian, and information is very important in this document that this guy was Belarusian. For this girl was really very big surprise to see these documents, and I just translated all the documents and said that we will visit her grandfather's village, and we will try to find her family roots, because it's really a very important topic. So once again, very important picture here we have. Yes, this is guys of Orthodox origin from Baranovich and Slonim, 20th Infantry Division. Very, very important picture, very important topic. Unfortunately unknown in Belarus, but I hope that my work will make this topic more familiar to the citizens of my republic, to the citizens of Belarus, and to people in other countries. Thanks to the Polish embassy, also we've made some exhibitions about Belarusians in the Polish military forces in the 2016 and 2018. We've made exhibition about Belarusians in the Polish army in 1939, and about Belarusians in the Second Polish Corps. And the main museums, the National History Museum and National Museum of the not Second World War, but Great Patriotic War. So I continue to collect materials, artifacts. Families gave me family photos, pictures, orders, badges of their grandparents, gave me photographs. I continue my work on that topic because it's really very important. So once again, thank you very much. Ask the questions, you have time.
Are there any questions? I don't think so. Thank you very much, Ihar, for your session. I hope that everyone is inspired by what you've just heard. If you didn't get a chance to ask a question that you wanted to ask, let one of us know and we can connect you with the presenter. Just a reminder that the next sessions begin at 2:30, and you have a choice of Connecting Isolated Jewish Communities panel discussion, Testimonies of Tragedy and Resistance, or Shul of Rock. You can find out more and join the next session by viewing the program on the Together Plan website. I will now unmute everyone so that you can give a minute to thank the presenter yourselves. I look forward to seeing you at another session, and have a great day.
Thank you very much for attention. Thank you very much for the possibility.